ballot question on to fund that. Just as a highlight, I asked the superintendent how much of those items on there got us to the point where we eliminated the Wednesday early release. And of course, the early release is a result of reducing the fine arts teachers and PE and health teachers. So if you take and were to add to the status quo budget, in other words, if we came up with the I think it's $910,000 plus another $350,000, we would achieve no cuts in current services, and we would put back the fine arts and PE teachers and eliminate the Wednesday early release day. Now, that's kind of where the numbers are for the school budget point of view.
Just in relation
Can I
to
ask
Bob,
a question, Bob?
you're privy to the finance team. Has the superintendent actually prioritized that as the first things to be returned? Because I recall,
Questionable,
per
right,
the
Phil?
earlier discussions that, the superintendent did not commit to restoring the Wednesdays in those positions that would do that as a top priority. I mean, so that if that's the case, that's not necessarily what we're buying into, what we're going to get, unless there is a commitment on his part, and the superintendent has to say, not the school committee.
I don't know where the board's gonna be until we finish this evening, but let's say we decided to come up with that additional by whatever means that we come up with, right? I mean, I certainly would put a stipulation on it, that you want that money, this is what you gotta do.
And we've had those discussions about how this would go, what we would do, all that stuff, and they have not committed. I would agree with what you said. They have not committed to what they would restore, but certainly from our point of view, I mean, that, if we're gonna raise money by all these means, I think we have some input into what would happen. So, that would be the goal.
Bob, if I may, this is the question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Is if this money was restored, do we have a guarantee that this will end the half-day on Wednesdays, or will this just be the money that?
I think if I were to come up with what we're gonna have to do, which is not, it's gonna be very painful, right?
Right.
To supplement to that level, right, it would definitely be part of the.
But we cannot hold them to that. When we
Sure,
give
but
them
they
the
have a budget.
figure,
If they give you a budget that says
In the
that.
public arena.
but they have a
we
bottom
can-
line budget, Phil.
They give you a budget, I
Well,
know.
no,
They
it
should.
doesn't mean anything.
In the public
It's a
arena.
bottom line budget,
in the
yeah.
public
No, I
arena,
understand. I understand. Yeah,
I tell these
I also
people
think
Wednesdays
that-
are back. How
I
you
think
gonna
there's a couple
cooperate with
members
that?
of the school board at a minimum that understand.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I would hope they would do that. Could I ask one other question, Bob, before you move? And I don't know if you'll know this answer or not, but somebody in the audience may. What is the ELL teacher?
Elementary, okay?
No, it's English language.
English okay.
English language.
And that's only,
English as a second language.
that's English as a second language?
Right, so students come in that do not speak English.
Okay. And that's one full teacher at only 17?
Yeah, that number didn't make sense.
Yeah,
to me,
that doesn't
but
make any
that's
sense to me
got
at
on
all.
the list, so.
Because an English second language teacher is often like an aide, not full-time. Potentially.
Well, he has like 1 point. Usually it's the halftime teacher that
Yeah,
gets
this, that just doesn't,
Question for the school.
that's an
committee.
English
Yes,
second
sir.
language, okay.
Well, that's a good question, because, what we've been doing each year is, if you go back a couple of years, 2 years ago, we moved $600,000 from the town side to the school, above, beyond what we normally what was being done, you go back a number of years ago, was that the school department, after you took your fixed cost out, whatever was left was split 60-40. When I'm not talking about the total number, but I'm talking about the available new money. And then, over the past couple of years, that's been shifting. It started to shift when going back 4 years ago, when the override was passed for the school budget. Then, 2 years ago, we moved $600,000 in. Last year, we moved 100. We were gonna dig more, and they didn't want it. They wanted to go for the overlay. That's the way it is. Now we're talking about even larger money by assessing new fees on the town side that I've reviewed this evening, and also making some significant cuts if we're gonna make those kind of numbers. Let me go on and,
But Bob, just as a clarification, we go back to your first budget sheet here. If you look at the school budget, the town budget, and then you have your fixed cost, the partial answer to your question is, for the upcoming fiscal year, just for salaries alone, primarily salaries, it's $1.2 million on the school department side and $500,000 on the town side, just to meet the obligations of the current contracts for salary over last year. So moving forward, it's
Gotta be
the
more.
same, you know, so it's approximately, you know,
Yeah.
$6 million, $7 million.
Yes, but not really, I mean, you know, the numbers,
But it's still
It's-
$1.5 million plus every year just to meet the contractual obligations, $1.6 million.
what's going on?
That doesn't include insurance costs.
The biggest component is that I think it's 81% of the school budget is salaries. The teachers' contracts, right, are based on steps, and the town side is too, but we may have 3 or 4 steps, they have a dozen. And then they have bachelor's, master's, and then doctorate steps, right? They've had a lot of retirements over the past 7 or 8 years. Those people who are on top step are gone. By the way, they're on our payroll now associated with retirement and retirement health insurance. So now they've got younger teachers at lower steps. Those step increases are about 4.5%, on top of the 2% cost of living. Therefore, the school budget's rising at 5.5% kind of number, driven by salaries alone. That coupled with the fact that a big chunk of the money that we get in increased revenue comes from, or goes to, health insurance and the retirement, both of which have been driven by the fact that we had this change in that everyone knows about health insurance and the astronomical increases that we get every year on that. So,
but the primary issue is that revenues capped at 2.5%. Revenue isn't capped at 2.5%, but revenue from property taxes is 2.5%, and then the rest of it, you're dependent upon, what happens at the state level. So, I mean, your numbers coming in are not growing as fast as your numbers going out. That's the answer. I mean, whatever the components are, that's the answer. The money coming in is less than the money going out.
and the other interesting thing is, we go forward here with whatever we come up with to fill this gap, and a couple pieces of it will help next year, but not all of it, meaning that we'll be back here next year talking about the same thing, because it's a systemic problem, and, and with the economy showing signs of slowing down, it isn't gonna help either. Talk about additional revenue increases that you might get from fees and things. For example, excise tax, automobile excise tax is a big number. We're not anticipating much growth there at all. In fact, we could see a decrease going forward. Hey, let me go on to finish this up, and so the board can start to talk about what we can do. So, these are my recommendations, guys, not yours. You beat me up on it, but I believe we have to fully fund the status quo school budget by allocating an additional $911,586. And I got that number because I paid in the $35,000 that the school was going to treat. Consider finding an additional $356,213, which would restore art and music and eliminate the weekly Wednesday early release. And I say consider. And place an override question on the May ballot to support the school committee's recommended budget. And then consider placing an override question on the May ballot to restore some of the general government cuts used to supplement the school non-override budget status quo. We're in a box, we have a responsibility to provide leadership associated with dealing with this. We cannot let our school deteriorate any further. We certainly can put pressure on the school department to be efficient and to implement change. But I think the issue is a real issue. We look at the numbers and, we need to do something. And I think we need to get aggressive about making changes to our health insurance program. I know we're gonna work forward with the GIS in the following year, which will help us. But we need to do something in that area this year. And with that, I'll leave it open for
Well,
discussion.
Can I? Bill, can I put the
You can do whatever you.
back up? Well, I
Oh,
can
sure.
put the piece back up on the free cash.
Oh, sure. Let me get the thing up and then. You wanted the free cash number? This one?
No, the next.
Debt stabilization?
Yeah, that's, I'm sorry, debt stabilization. Thing is that, the cuts and the adjustments that we have here, I agree with. I propose something else, okay? And I proposed something else at the finance committee meeting. I've talked to a number of people about it. People have expressed, and I've talked to several of you on the board here about it as well, and some people have expressed an interest in it. Other people are significantly horrified by it, but I propose it. And what I propose is that if you look at the $531,000 that's there, okay, that is money that Brad Jones negotiated for us and worked hard to get in the legislature. It was not money we expected. It was money that to us is basically a windfall, not unlike the $1.2 million, which is part of a long and hard work by us. The $531,000 kind of came to us, and we certainly didn't expect it. Okay, to me, my feeling is that that's money that was brought to us by Brad Jones for the very purpose of taking us through tough times. And I think, somebody asked me about the rainy day fund, and I said to them, well, isn't it raining? Seems like it's raining to me. So, and I think that this is the time that we can use that to offset the debt in the current year, and that gives you, we're already using $150,000 now under the proposal by the town administrator. We always use $150,000. If you use the entire $531,000 to offset debt stabilization, all right, you're going to not only combine with what's done here already, you're going to be able to reinstate Wednesdays. There's your $350,000 plus. Is the $531,000 plus the adjustments we're talking about will bring back Wednesdays. Okay, and I think that we apply it to I understand. I think it still will allow us to do Bob's. I'm going to say Bob's vision, because he's the one really who put the vision together, and it's a wonderful idea. It's a great idea for the legacy of this town, is to be able to use this money to leverage capital projects. Okay, and that was the goal. But I can't look people in the face. I cannot look people in the face and know that the kids are going home on Wednesdays, that we're cutting teachers, that we're cutting policemen, okay, that we're making these cuts, and we've got $2.2 million sitting waiting for us in October, okay? I just can't look people in the face in that situation. To me, we aren't cutting the heart out of this. It does hit it some, but it also is what I think the money was given to us for. Okay, it was given for to get us through tough times, and I'd like to see us use the entire 531. We're already using 150 of it in the plan. I'd like to see the entire 531, and that'll reinstate Wednesdays. There's enough money there to reinstate the Wednesdays. So that's my idea. Joe?
Well, I first want to talk about the Wednesday situation. I have my own thoughts on the Wednesday situation, but I'm kind of uncomfortable. I want to hear the school committee say they will do away with the half-day Wednesdays if we give them that money. I'm not saying I don't trust them. I'm not saying that, but I want to hear it. I don't want to hear maybe,